from that. Oh, I've gone through the whole thing and it's not recording. What shit?
We've got the red dot. We're in business.
Yeah. Right. Hi everyone. So today we're here with Merv. So Mervin's been with us in HNW Deals for a couple of months now. Well, what is it about? Is it 2 or 3?
Yeah. Into the third month now, yeah.
Yeah. And so we're just catching up with Merv just to see what his experience has been up to now and how he's found things and yeah, how he's getting on with things basically. So yeah, just a few questions for you, really, Merv. I know I'm looking because I've messed up my laptop, so I've cracked my screen. So I'm connected to my TV, so I'm looking up there, but my screen's up there, so it's a bit of a ball ache. But yeah, we'll do it. But yeah, Merv, like I said, thanks for taking the time, mate. Really appreciate you spending your time doing this with me. But yeah, just to go through a few questions with you, really, mate. In terms of obviously, like I say, you've been with us 3 months now. First question is like, what was life like for you before you joined up? What were you doing in terms of lead gen generally, and how were things before you signed up to this?
Yeah, so before this, it was pretty much two ways to get the leads. It was either warm referrals from existing customers or my own network from kind of financial services background and accountancy background and that, or just into the phone book and cold calling. So I would have used red flag alert a fair bit just to kind of identify maybe some target customers from that, and then try to get through the gatekeeper and everything. But
That was cold calling.
it's just so time consuming.
Yeah.
Like to even go through and identify the targets. You could spend half a day a week just on identification to kind of try and drill it down, into any kind of meaningful list at all.
Right.
And then you would set aside 2 or 3 hours a day, well, 1 day, 2 days a week, maybe just to try and do your calls. But like it's soul destroying. We all know what it's like, trying to get the person that you need to speak to is just so hard. So it was really, really difficult. Especially we're a brand new business, kind of starting from scratch, just January time of this year. So, we don't have that kind of existing platform of businesses and customers that we can go back to. So it is kind of starting from scratch, and it's been, the cold calling was just, A, we didn't have the time for it, and pretty much one man band, and B, it was just, it's pretty deflating whenever you spend so much time on it and you don't really get any results.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's a similar crack to like buying leads in that sense. Well, it's just, yeah, like you say, you're spending money to do it, but it's the time, which is the more, and not only that, like you say, it's the demoralizing feeling that you're not really getting any further and you've put a shed load of time into it, in which time is more important than the money side of it, really, isn't it? You can make more money, but you can't make more time. There's that old kind of, it rings true for me.
Big time. Like I could burn easily 1.5 days a week on, cold calling, marketing, sort of sitting, trying to go through red flag data, go through company's house data, see if it looks like there's going to be any kind of mileage in it before you even start to kind of, pick up the phone and try and find someone to contact. So it was just too time consuming. I'm not the right sort of resource for that either. I need to be spending my time writing the applications, meeting the customers, doing the deals. So it just wasn't really working for me, which I suppose led us to look for something a bit different.
Yeah. And just obviously I know, but just for the audience, like what exactly is it that you do?
So I'm a commercial finance broker. So like a lot of your guys on there, maybe residential mortgage brokers. So basically I do every kind of lending for businesses from, 10 grand to buy a second-hand van to £10 million property development deals and everything in between. So any kind of business lending, we facilitate it.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah. And obviously that's something that we worked with you on, isn't it? In terms of like refining, in terms of like your customer profile, and obviously, well, that leads on to the next question in terms of what we've worked with you on and the process. Like, how have you found that?
Yeah, like so it's been really, really good. Obviously, kind of LinkedIn, we would have used it. I would have used it sort of, for the last number of years, just personally anyway, just the basic version, and growing your network from kind of recommended connection requests or whatever, and going through that. So it was always pretty kind of slow burn on that. So for us to be able to kind of sort of boost, what I can do on LinkedIn and to kind of supercharge the speed that we can do it at as well has been a massive thing. Like I started just working my way through the classroom modules, sort of basically had them on the iPad and then sat on the laptop beside it, just sort of running through, just basically step by step as you're going through the bits and pieces, setting up a sales navigator and into my LinkedIn and stuff, and kind of starting to identify my list to fire out my connection requests and things. So that process has been running, I suppose, even just to wind it back, kind of going back to the likes of get ChatGPT just to rewrite my LinkedIn profile and all those kind of little things that just you would never have thought to do kind of on your own. We see all the other kind of guys out there in the network that maybe are using it in some way, shape or form, because you can kind of see, maybe some patterns to some of the content that's out there. But for me in my space, just there isn't anyone really kind of doing it. And for me to grow my network and grow my kind of target audience, it's been a game changer just as to how many people I can reach through this.
Yeah, because I think that is obviously, as you know, the first thing that we work on is defining your target audience. And I think that is obviously, I've done the same strategy for years with firms and advisors. And it's generally the hardest part of the process and the thing that people procrastinate over sometimes for months and months. And obviously now it's a hell of a lot easier to get to that point of having that clearly defined with, like you say, with the tools that are available now, which haven't been for, well, until what was it, November 23, I think, ChatGPT came out. But and yeah, and again, going back to what you said about AI, a lot of people are using AI or ChatGPT specifically because that's obviously the main kind of LLM, the main large language model. But I think they're very shallow in what they're doing. They're using it for basic things, but there's so much more to it. I think AI, which is I think what you've got from it.
Yeah, massively so. Like I dabbled on ChatGPT, what can I make my 2-year-old for dinner? That kind of thing. But then whenever you kind of get into the nuts and bolts of the course and you see like the length, the first thing that struck me was, I think it was going through the LinkedIn profile kind of optimization piece. That was one of the prompts. I was like, having 2 A4 pages, and I was like, holy crap. This is kind of what I would never, ever, I'm not from that kind of background that I would have ever known what how to kind of prompt it to make sure that I was getting, proper response from it. So I suppose that's been the key kind of thing for me, is just like the amount of in-depth stuff that's already there for us to kind of leverage off. Fair enough. I want to tweak it into my sector, but like that's easy whenever, the blueprint's there for it.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, I think I know you got cracking with it quite quickly. And like, how long did it take you to get that customer profile?
I think it's been about probably like 2 weeks. We probably had everything out and running and everything set up, and Ulink starting to fire out all the connection requests as well.
Yeah.
Into the kind of targeted list. So I kind of had a good idea what I wanted my target to be initially anyway.
Yeah.
Probably made that process just a little bit easier, but we're certainly a good bit backwards and forwards on the various platforms just to make sure that I was kind of getting the right kind of profile and the right kind of customer that I can ultimately sell into.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and in terms of like, obviously we've gone through the way you were before and how you found the process and things, but like what's life like for you now? So now we've got this, like, what have you got from it?
Yeah, so there's been actually a good bit from it. So I've got a Tesla in credit for a guy in Scotland who runs a QS firm. So there's probably £900 commission on that for me. I've got an engineering business over in NI who we're in discussions with about me possibly coming in to play a consultancy role, just with my kind of sort of general finance and accountancy background stuff as well.
Okay.
There have been 3 or 4 property development leads just into England, and just this morning there's a guy on looking 50 grand to buy a bit of machinery and just sort of how the process work, what's the kind of fees, et cetera, et cetera. So it has really kind of driven, tangible results. I was just looking through my stats there this morning. So like we're at sort of like 50% connection rates of the requests that are going out. And then of that, we're at, like, of the ones who've connected, we're at over 25% of those have engaged directly with me through messaging as well. So I think to me, that's pretty good, just based off,
Oh yeah, it is.
this knowledge of kind of surveys and, all the kind of various stuff. So, but that's come down to, I suppose, having a good profile is obviously something they've seen value in. And then, obviously the connection requests are going to the right people.
Yeah.
And, getting to the kind of decision makers who are actually interested in what we're trying to do. So I think that's been a real encouraging start for me. Anyway, that's the way I see it.
Yeah, it's just talking. Well, it's one, defining who it is that you want to talk to, and then putting out messaging that is kind of specific to them, which makes the difference. Yeah, that's how you get people's attention, and the whole point of everything that we're doing with this stuff, marketing, is getting the attention. Well, not getting the attention of everyone or anyone. It's getting the attention of the right people. Yeah, but you can only do that if you know who the right person is, which is obviously, like we talked about, the first part of the process, and then putting together the messaging that really just does resonate specifically with those people and their specific psychology and their pain points and things, and that's how you get their attention.
Massively so. And certainly kind of like even sort of part of mine as well has been, trying to expand just out of Northern Ireland into the mainland. So, we did our kind of research as well, sort of north of England and Scotland are a bit sort of underrepresented, just with commercial brokers and that. So we're kind of targeting, geographic areas as well, just where there's less coverage, where there's, possibly a bit more of a gap in the market as well. So, sort of leaning into that.
Yeah. So was there. Exactly. That's the beauty of Sales Navigator, isn't it? You could got multiple different filters in there, and geographical is obviously one of them. So yeah, that's again, I think a lot of brokers are just focusing on the local area because they don't know how to get out of the local area, and I think it does just minimize your opportunities when you do just serve your local area. But it's a new digital world now, isn't it? Especially after COVID and stuff, you can do appointments like over Zoom, video calls, and there's no real people don't really need to. 'Cause back in the day, you'd pretty much have to be sat in front of someone to do business with them. But now people are more in tune and more open to doing appointments over Zoom, and it's just more efficient anyway, isn't it, for everybody?
Oh, yeah, much more so. And like, even I think just with the evolution of time, like when I went back to my sort of bank days in the early 2000s, we had to have the entire relationship with the customer, and we had to have the whole piece. For us now, everything's so much more transactional. So I may have a development loan with one lender, I might have massive finance over here. I could have my term loans over there. So there's just so much more choice in the market as well, which is good for us as brokers. But there's just, so much more willingness from customers to shop about and just go, okay, well, where's the best fit for that exact piece that I need to finance right now?
Yeah, 100%. And have you seen like a financial return off it yet?
So that Tesla will be the first one to kind of generate some hard cash.
Yeah.
It's going to be approved. Kind of, it's basically it's a done deal. So there'll be 1,700 quid commission coming in off that. Should hit the text sort of next week. So good to start to see that coming. And we really only need sort of one or two decent deals just to hit, and we're quids in as such. So
Yeah.
I have plenty of confidence it's gonna happen. We're still very much at the early stages of it, and I think I haven't even got into going down and running a bit more targeted campaigns just around sort of specific products either, which is the next step to do.
Well, yeah, just to pull on what you've mentioned, then, it's two things. One is going for the big stuff, isn't it? Because you don't need much. It's a less is more approach, which is obviously something we'll work with you on to define that customer profile that's going to get you to that point where you are working less but earning more, which all comes down to strategy. I think so many people are just kind of shooting in the dark in that sense, where they're going out for just, or maybe they're just relying on reactive approaches, like they're just relying on referrals, which that just leads to a lack of control over the value of the clients that you're generating. And they end up just taking on whatever they can because that's the only kind of thing that they know, which is fair. I get it. We've all been there. I've been there myself at the start of my journey. That's exactly what I did. But then, yeah, it's. I think it's just about thinking about the foundational stuff, the strategy stuff, and just going after the big stuff. And then, like you said, you don't need much of it to get you to where you need to be. And
Yeah, and
that's
that's very much the key thing. Like for me, it's actually just, if I have the deals to work on, the actual, the nuts and bolts work behind each kind of transaction, it's the same as if it's a £1,000,000 loan, takes the same work, probably less than a 100 grand loan.
yeah,
So it's trying to get into those, get the right people and get those kind of larger deals. But time taken to actually transact it is not that much. You spent more time as a broker trying to get the deals coming in. So, that kind of
yeah,
out sort of doorstepping pretty much. You could easily spend half your time on it if you weren't that busy.
yeah, exactly. And just pull from something else you mentioned there in terms of like you're obviously like we said, it's early days at the minute in terms of even your niche. We've got a good idea, but because you're moving with it, you'll find that there might be another direction that you want to take in terms of just because you'll get a certain, obviously we're nailing it down, but you're still going to have different values within that niche that you're going for. So it might be that we can refine that even further and just obviously through experience of finding out which customer profiles within that niche are the most profitable and then get it even more narrow. You
Yeah.
know, the more narrow you get, the more, well, obviously within reason, there's gotta be big enough, like, it's gotta be enough time, like, total addressable market to make it profitable. But generally, if you're going for these kind of sub niches, if it is a big enough market, then it's just gonna be a lot more profitable by just, again, just narrowing it down even further, which, yeah, I think is something that you get from just putting yourself out there into that initial, not a broad market, it's still a narrow market, but it's can be even narrower by, like I said, just putting yourself in that market to find out which
Yeah.
is the narrow direction to go. So, yeah, I
Yeah, then absolutely. So, yeah, for me, it's got flipping huge potential, and you know, this to kind of get what I've got, I would have needed nearly a full-time person or a half-time, you know, person kind of sitting to do it, specifically,
yeah,
and cold calling if that was, how you want to resource it, but
mm,
don't have the cash to do that. So, this has been the,
yeah, well, you
you know,
need to, it
what
needs
are you
to
going
be,
to do it? And, don't need it either. And that's just opened my eyes into certainly what's possible.
yeah, and like I say, it's cost efficient because 'cause you're not having to pay anyone to do it, and you're not having to do it yourself, really. It's obviously it's automated to a degree. Obviously, there are bits that you have to manually do, but the bulk of that strategy is it's just kicking away, isn't it, in the background?
And then as a business owner as well, just, you obviously you keep control of the message that's going out there too. You're not just having some randomer out there kind of doing your, and who knows what they've kind of promised, to get
Yeah,
in the door as well. So, I'm still in control of the message that's going out.
yeah, good point. Um, yeah, final question, maybe it's like, would you recommend what the service? I guess I
100.
probably wouldn't have you on the call if you said no. I'm hoping you say yes,
No, it's
but
absolutely right. No, no.
still get a bit nervous when I ask that question just in
Don't
case
do it.
they
Yeah, if you're a commercial broker, especially, stay away from it. It's absolutely
alright, end the call now.
no, 100%. Definitely recommend it. For me, even just, the exposure. Um, I've almost had like 1,000, connections or whatever on LinkedIn. We've almost doubled that in the space of kind of 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah,
Even just the exposure that I've kind of got from that, and what I see coming through in the analytics, just on the posts and things that are going up, was massive. So
mm,
if I didn't get anything else other than exposure, it's been worth the money. But we've already seen some good quality leads coming through it, without even starting to properly drill down into it. So absolutely, I'd recommend it all day long. The amount of time and energy it saved me, is phenomenal. Even just there's so many tools out there to do all the different bits and pieces. And for us, it's incredible, and I've started to use them then just in other spheres as well. Just the likes of, even I think you had a thing on about voice notes one day, so they use that. It takes all my meeting notes now all the time.
Yeah,
Has just saves me so much time trying to go back through and see what I actually had jotted down. So just like getting all those tools and all of those tips and things that just save you time, and for a small business owner, time's crucial.
exactly. It's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, these note takers are amazing, aren't they? They're just kind of. I've found that. I think, well, that was probably one of the first real AI solutions that because I'm obviously do a lot of calls, and I used to be taking my eyes off to like scribble down notes, and then you're not engaged, and then I'd forget stuff, even though I'm making notes. There'd be bits I'd missed, and
Yeah.
yeah, now it's just you don't need to think about it. You can be just fully engaged in who you're talking to, rather than being half engaged by trying to make notes and things. And obviously, yeah, that's like you say, there's so many out there, but that is one of the key things I think, which is such a quick fix for people to, like you said, to buy back time, and that's what it's all about. And AI just perfectly fits into that.
Yeah, like I've used other likes of Comet.
Yeah, I've got onto comment.
Yeah, on a Comet, and I've been using Perplexity just for a little while as well. It's so good. You should see the business plans that can pull you off in 2 minutes. But again, it depends on the inputs you're putting into it. But when you've got the kind of the right prompts and the right inputs going into it, I've saved myself one day last week just in a small application for one of my customers. I had to write a business plan for it. Probably saved me minimum 3.5 hours.
Really?
Just pulled it together, did a veil, goes away, did all the background research, pulled me the stats for all the comparables and bits and pieces as well. Just I'd have had to dig about online for ages. So, yeah, it is the way to go.
Yeah, yeah, because Comet is like, it's just I'm just digging into it. I've been using it for probably about a month now, but the longer I'm using it, the more I'm finding like nuggets of gold that it can be used for. And have you used the feature where it can let you take over your screen and the assistant part to it? And
I haven't done that one yet, and then there's like an email one or something that they can basically just run your inbox. So hopefully some stage we'll get down that.
Yeah, because I'm just doing a post on it, so I'll be posting that in the community. Well, I've just done one today actually on yeah, but I'll be doing another on, like I say, because I'm just discovering more and more, and that is just such an easy, quick fix for people to implement just like that, and especially when they know. Because even when I started with it, I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to benefit me, but I'm finding the more I'm digging in, the more I'm using it, the more I'm finding out what it can be done for, especially that assistant part to it, because that just sees your screen basically. You pull it up and it can view your screen. It can see what you're working on, so you can ask it questions about what you're looking at, and it's got like kind of live feedback kind of thing. And then for just like little tasks that are just easy to do, it'll just do it. It'll take over your screen, and then you could just sit back, and you can see what it's doing. Your screen close up, and then it'll just do things for you. It's just like, what? It's like magic. There's a big time in this stuff.
It seems to be one of the better ones I've kind of.
Yeah, it's well. There's I use Claude, mainly that and Claude, but they've all got independent kind of strengths and weaknesses, if you like. And I use Claude a lot for writing content, because that's really good at writing. I think again, if you prompt it like you were talking about earlier, in terms of the prompt, if you prompt it in the right way, it'll produce a lot better writing, like copy for sales, online sales copy compared to ChatGPT, I think. But like you say, Perplexity is, because that pulls in from them all. I don't know if you know, it pulls in from Perplexity, Claude. I don't think Grok, but a couple of others, and that's good for search and deep research. I don't know if you've ever found the use case for that, but it's called labs on there, which will go really deep. In fact, I'm gonna show you that. which it can be used to research like really good leads. Because obviously the stuff that we're doing at the minute is it's good leads, but it's kind of taking the top like 1% of those top leads, and then it'll research each of those leads with like information that's available on the public domain or that's on the internet, and then it'll craft like a very tailored specific outreach sequence that's mega specific to them, because it knows, because it's researched each individual lead. So it's really tailored. Obviously the stuff we're doing is personalized to a degree, but this is like mega hyper personalized because it knows everything about their company and what they've been up to in the past. So it'll tailor it all, and it just does it, and it pulls up like a dashboard with it all on. But yeah, I'll show you that on the call.
Yeah, that'd be really, really useful.
But yeah, I think we've covered everything on for this. Like I said before, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend this time doing this with me. But yeah, for anybody listening, if you want to get in touch and you want to learn more about the strategy I'm using to generate these leads, you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn, just at Dan Reddish, or check out hnwdeals.com. But yeah, again, Merv, thank you very much for your time. Cheers, guys.
No worries. Thanks, that.